The big, beautiful bill is for and by the people, says Nancy Mace. In a defining moment of this legislative session, South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace has emerged as a firm advocate of the sweeping One Big Beautiful Bill, declaring it for and by the people as it sailed through Congress and headed to the president's desk. This massive, nearly 900-page package, dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill, consolidates the most ambitious components of former President Trump's agenda, extending the 2017 tax cuts, eliminating taxes on overtime and tips, boosting funding for defense and border security, raising the debt ceiling by trillions, and enforcing deep cuts to entitlement programs like Medicaid and SNAP. The Senate approved the bill by a razor-thin 51-50 vote, with Vice President Vance breaking the tie, after a marathon of amendments and scrutiny over its projected $3.3 trillion addition to the federal deficit over the next decade. The House followed suit, passing the revised version despite spirited resistance from both moderate and hardline Republicans. Amid this political tumult, Representative Nancy Mace stood out, literally racing to Washington in pink pajamas after flight cancellations to cast her decisive vote in favor. In a bold public statement, she praised the legislation for delivering real benefits to working Americans. No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, stronger borders, and a crackdown on waste, fraud, and abuse, underscoring her belief that the bill truly represents President Trump's blueprint for a stronger, safer, and more prosperous nation. But the megabill has also sparked a fierce backlash. Critics highlight its sweeping Medicaid cuts, potentially stripping healthcare from nearly 11.8 million Americans by 2034, and the rollback of clean energy tax credits, even as 11 Republicans opposed in the Senate and several conservative voices in the House warned it risks growing inequality and ballooning deficits. Nancy Mace and other supporters argue the legislation embodies transparency and accountability, labeling it a corrective step after years of what they describe as overly centralized and out-of-touch policymaking. They say it fulfills campaign promises, boosts national security, and empowers families and small businesses. Opponents, on the other hand, denounce the process as rushed and secretive and warn it plows through vital social safety nets without proper debate. Now, as the bill awaits the president's signature, likely just before America's 250th Independence Day, the country stands at a crossroads. Proponents celebrate a bold legislative achievement that they claim answers the public's desire for tax relief, strong borders, and federal efficiency. Detractors fear the economic and social costs could outweigh the benefits, particularly for vulnerable communities. And through it all, Nancy Mace remains determinedly vocal, insisting the legislation is not only a Republican victory, but a bill shaped by the everyday struggles and aspirations of ordinary Americans. Whether history will affirm her words that the Big Beautiful Bill truly is for and by the people remains to be seen as implementation begins and the real world impacts unfold.